Hello one and all, welcome to a Galaxy Man Show interview show. So for today's guest is this incredible actor known by the name of Garred. He's been in Occupation as Dennis, this is Occupation, the very first Occupation, so just to give everyone a bit of a brief update. I'm about to give Zach into the live now, and here we go.
Hey mate,
Hey Zach, what's up?
how you going?
Yeah, pretty good.
That's good.
Awesome.
Look at you. Here we go. 21st century tech at its absolute finest.
I know, right? Technology.
It's incredible, eh? It's incredible.
Yeah.
Here in America, you're there. In Australia, unbelievable.
I know.
We're in
How have
17 countries.
how have you been doing in these times?
At the moment, just trying to stay as cool as we can. It's been basically there's been a heat wave to add to all the other delights and fantastic experiences we've had over the last 6 months. So we've just been getting through that little bit. But really, mate, it's been a rather, I think, sometimes dull and unstimulating time over here. To be honest, it's funny. Like it's just been really getting through day to day. That's about it, because the whole industry pretty much stopped over here. There's been a few things, there's a few auditions to do, but everything just sort of stopped. So
Yeah.
we've just been trying to stay as busy as we can in any way possible.
Well, I'm glad you're safe and well anyway, because you're an awesome legend, by the way, Zach. I just want to say that first up.
Nice.
Uh,
Glad we have that on record too. I'm glad
yeah.
that's actually been sanctified and finished and sorted.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to get you to actually introduce yourself and explain a bit about what you do, and then I'll dive right into the questions.
No dramas, mate. Well, g'day everyone. My name is Zach Garred. I am an Australian actor and writer and producer. I've been working in the film and television industry now for 15 years. I've got a couple of projects coming out this year. I've got a movie called Occupation Rainfall coming towards the back end of this year, which is a sequel to a film I shot in Occupation. I'm about to go shoot another film called Garred over here in the next couple of weeks as well. And I've got another film called coming out next year too, which is so basically what's been happening lately. And yeah, I've been very fortunate to have a lot of to look forward to.
Awesome. So we'll dive right into the questions now, Zach.
Let's do this.
Awesome. So for my first question, how has Occupation changed since Occupation, the very first Occupation, to leading to Occupation Rainfall?
How has it changed as far as the scope or the narrative?
Since the very first one to leading to the second one.
It's incomparable. It's absolutely incomparable. Actually, Luke and I had a conversation about this the other day. We're talking about some of the post-production that he's been doing, which is immense. And it's, in some ways, it's a completely different movie. It's a completely different, it's a different story. It's a continuation, but it broadens the world that was already there. So we begin to open up and understand a little bit more about what's actually happening in Australia and globally with the alien invasion, and then we get to meet a couple of other characters who become integral to the overall narrative of Rainfall, but they also have a background themselves coming into this film, which we'll talk about. So in some ways, it's a continuation of what Occupation 1 was, but in quite a few other ways, it's much bigger and grander, and it's actually as far as the spectacle is concerned, it's incomparable. This one's it's absolutely huge.
Awesome. So for my next question, onto that, how have the aliens evolved since the first one to lead into the second one?
You'll notice the difference with them stylistically, but we also understand a lot more about their society and their hierarchy and what their ultimate goal is as far as the invasion and what their motivations are. So we learn a bit more about the aliens' politics and also their morals and where they stand with certain things. Like humans, the aliens have their own conflicts within themselves about what they think is right, what they think is wrong, and what they think is great for them at the expense of us. They're okay with that moral imbalance. So the aliens themselves are actually quite a central part of this story. So you're going to learn a lot more about them.
Awesome. So on to my next question, Zach. How has Dennis's relationship between Stella changed from the first one, if you can say anything about that?
Oh, yeah, Bella? Is that
Yeah.
Bella? Yeah. That's that's a whole different scenario. That's yeah, we thought it might be best if we just go our separate ways, not just for the benefit of ourselves and of course our own heart, our own our own romantic needs, but also for we think the perpetuation of the species is better if we went in our separate direction, But I can't say too much about what Bella's up to because she's got an important part to play in this, and she appears at a pretty instrumental part of the film. I should say, sorry, part of the film, whereas Dennis is in a whole scenario. So their relationship, should we say, we sacrificed our relationship for the betterment of mankind.
Damn it! I thought you were going maybe like maybe a baby or something down the road, maybe.
No. No. Dennis wasn't ready for that. No, mate. It was like, yeah, babe, the apocalypse is happening. I don't know what's out there. I just want to go and find myself for a little while. So, real cheers. Number.
So, for my next question, you just mentioned before you're in this new filming soon called Zero Road.
Yeah.
And you're also in a horror film. What can you tell us about your characters in those?
Zero Road is well, both of them. The first one, Zero Road, I head off to do that soon with a bloke called Jackson Rathbone, who was in Twilight, and Brandon Thomas Lee, and a young girl called Olivia Rouet, who's starting out too. And it's actually a really independent drama about a bloke trying to escape his small town in Wyoming. It's sort of a loosely biographical story by the director, and I play a bloke called Josh, described as a 90s boy band eject. So I'm fat. I'm going to be fat in it. I'm going to have really short hair, and I'm selling crystal meth to teenagers in the trailer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a departure.
Different from Dennis.
Yeah, it's a departure from Dennis. Yeah. So that's actually going to be a lot of fun. It's a really fun character, and it's a really good. It's a great script, and it's something. It's a complete departure from what we've just gone through with Rainfall. And then Seance is by a director called Chris Kramer. There's an American fellow I met over here, and we shot that in Pennsylvania last December. And it's about a guy who follows Einstein's laws of physics and to understand that talk to spirits through electronic planes. So he hosts seances and actually contacts spirits. People all think that it's fake. No, it's real. He's stating about it. So a YouTube debunker goes to take her seances, and she thinks it's manufactured and fabricated, but then she comes to realize that it's real. And I play his frat boy mate, who's like best friend in it. And when he starts to understand spirits work, and I urge him to do a something that begins to allow horror to unfold. So that was a lot of fun. We shot that one in Pennsylvania last December, of a snowstorm in this 100-year-old B&B. It was really eerie. It was really cool. I literally went from shooting Rainfall on the Gold Coast of Australia to back to LA for a day, and then I went straight to Brisbane. So I went from the beach to like in the space of 48 hours. It was a great experience. It was really
awesome. So for my next question, Zach, if you could survive anywhere in an apocalypse, where would you want to go, and who would you take with you to survive?
If I could survive anywhere in an apocalypse, I suppose it depends what kind of apocalypse we're talking about. Like, if we're talking the zombie apocalypse, that requires a different approach. But I think if we stay on song with the aliens, a good place to be would be somewhere out of the cities, somewhere where you've got a good line of sight. So you got a great view of the sky. Maybe somewhere with like a natural area where you can get to and hike. That would be pretty good as well. So I reckon somewhere, if you're in New South Wales, I reckon somewhere like Byron Bay or somewhere would be really good, because it's like a nice open area and you've got plenty of places to go and get to if you need to be. And you're not far from military installations, which is also crucial. If I'm in America, I probably want to go to somewhere like Oklahoma.
Nice.
And if I'm going to take anyone with me, I'd be taking my girlfriend. She's tenacious. I'd be taking Ken Ewing, because he's not actually a character in Occupation. He's playing himself. So I feel secure.
Oh yeah, Dan always plays himself, even in Home and Away as like Heath Braxton. He's like
basically, yeah, it's just him. Yeah, so I would take him, because he's basically just playing himself, and I feel very secure in his warm embrace. Yeah, so I think that they're the two essential ones for sure, and of course family and friends along the way. But yeah, that would be my suggestions.
Awesome. So for my next question, who would be your top 3 actors to work with in the industry?
If I work with anyone?
Yeah.
I've got so many, mate. There's so many who you just deeply admire. One would be Joel Edgerton. I think he's fantastic. He's the actor who I think a lot of us know now. He's incredibly talented. I think he's Kate Blanchett is spectacular as well, and I think I like actors that you could work with, and you just know you'd learn a lot from them just by being around them and being able to experience together. And I think just if it's going to be anyone across any time frame, any point, probably someone like Peter Sellers, well, who is obviously a very famous actor, who I just think would be a delight to be around, and whose characters are so fascinating and funny and layered. And every time you see his work, it's still the same way when you see it for the very first time.
Awesome. So for my next question, Zach, if you could be in any TV or movie franchise, what would it be and why?
Right now, anything?
Yeah.
Okay, if we're talking about anything that's on television right now, anything at all, I'd like to be in The Crown on Netflix, because like a lot of the stories around it are incredible and the characters are really complex. I think that's a lot of fun. There's a new show on HBO that's just started over here called Lovecraft Country, which is absolutely incredible. It's a Jordan Peele show, and it's like sci-fi horror. It's a mix of genres, but it's just so fun. Or The Watchmen on HBO, like the new series, that would have been something really special, really special to be a part of. As far as film's concerned, like, I was going to be a part of any franchise, I'd have to go with Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy for sure. Yeah, that would be something pretty special.
Awesome. So for my last question, Zach, what are the positives and negatives into the acting industry, and what advice would you give someone wanting to get into the acting industry?
How long you got? Positives and negatives. Okay, look, mate, it's an extreme. There's a wonderful interview that just aired this week on Australian or ABC, and I watched it over here this week. It actually explores Joel's career, and Joel's life is a really great exploration of what the pursuit is. And the title of the doco is actually called The Long Run, and that's what this is. It's a marathon. There are people who experience sometimes perceived as a success, but obviously years and years of work. There's someone, Damon Herriman is a great example. The actor named Damon Herriman, who's a great example of that. Jackie Weaver and various others. They're all amazing. So I would say you've got to be tenacious. You've got to have a lot of self-belief. You've got to be patient. You've got to be vulnerable. And by that, I mean, you've got to be open to always challenging and pushing yourself. Because like with a lot of things, when you push yourself into different areas, you're going to You're going to learn through feedback and through critique. But when you do something as personal as acting, it's hard to separate the two. Hard to separate what is actually beneficial, but sometimes you take it personally, so it can really wear on your soul and wear on your heart. So my advice would be, have a thick skin, don't take things personally, challenge yourself, push yourself, and stick in there. And you'll also find that you'll have a lot in common with people. Like when you start to dig into the lives of the actors you deeply admire, like for me, guys like Matt Damon and Brad Pitt and Edgerton, you begin to see that you have there's similar points in their career starting out, whether it's as they progress. So understand that it is subjective, but a lot of people have been through the same thing. So you're never alone with anything. But obviously the negative are rejection, lack of opportunities, waiting, disappointment. These are all things that inevitably happen. It's always happen in any creative pursuit, whether it's singing, whether it's music, whatever, writing. You're going to be rejected much more than you're going to be employed, unfortunately. But it only takes one. It only takes one opportunity, really, to begin to unlock others. So I would always recommend that people be ready for that one, because you don't know what it will be. And also don't think that there's answers everywhere, because the reality is sometimes you have a lot of answers for things. You go for an audition and you absolutely crush it, and you go, that's the best job I've ever, it's the best acting I've ever done. And then crickets, nothing. You probably won't get a reason as to why, probably 1,000 reasons. So just be comfortable and confident in your work, and feel like when you do something, yeah, that's me. If I had to put my signature on it, like Van Gogh or someone like that, sign off on that and go, yep, that's my work. Yes, guys, thanks. So get to that where you're confident in yourself and confident in your work, and also understand that it's not about perfection, and the thing is that you've just got to be content and happy with who you are and what you put out there. And that's a lot easier than times.
Awesome. Well, Zach, just one last thing I want to put in. Why should people be invested into Occupation Rainfall, in your opinion, to drag viewers in?
My opinion, because this is going to be spectacle and escapism, and it's something that I think we need now as a society. I think we all miss the cinema so much. This is cinematic. This project is cinematic in every sense. It's huge. The special effects are staggering. The sound is immense. Characters are a lot of fun and really well defined, and the performances are great. It's wonderful to be part of it. So given what we're all going through right now, this is the kind of film that you go and see in the cinemas after this very challenging time that we've gone through collectively. So it's look forward to. It's really look forward to. It's something that spend your $12, get a bucket of popcorn and a gallon of Coke, and just sit there in the dark and just be entertained, because you are absolutely going to be entertained.
Awesome. Well, can I just say thank you so much again, Zach, for coming onto my show. It means so much. Everyone, definitely go give a follow to Zach. He is truly incredible. And I just want to say thank you so much again, Zach, for appearing on my show.
Oh, mate, no problem. Thank you so much. And the teaser for the first teaser for Occupation Rainfall, the poster came out last week, the teaser poster. The actual teaser itself will be dropping in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for that.
Awesome. Cool.
So how this came about is that we did Occupation 1, and as we started to see it cut together and see it come together in the edit room, I had lots of other ideas for that movie that I just couldn't do on the budget that I had. So I never kind of got what I wanted in that story, but I had a whole bunch of other stuff that I didn't know what to do with. So in the post I started coming up with the idea of what happens next, where do I go. That was a cool beginning, but let's jump ahead forward 2 years and let's see what an alien invasion looks like 2 years in.
And things have gotten bigger in a somewhat scarier way.
The budgets got bigger, the sets got bigger, the script got even more ambitious.
Well, it's a whole new ball game. It continues from the first one. I was so fascinated by the ambitiousness of the script and the characters that Luke Spark had created, and where we've taken those characters into the sequel. It's just a whole nother level.
I said yes to this project, and I hadn't even finished the script yet.
Yeah, it's a big production, big cast. The world that we are living in is really big, and for an Australian feature, that's really exciting, like when it's this big and bold.
So you're kind of like a little kid playing in this big arena room. There's an army in front of you, and there's fog so you don't see them, and then they reveal it, and you have to imagine this whole scene.
This is an incredibly ambitious project. Like, it's an enormously ambitious project, and I just take my hat off, because everybody's mucking in, everybody's sort of being patient, everybody's trying that little bit more, that little bit harder. Everybody understands what it's like in Australia to make a movie, particularly a science fiction movie on this scale, with the sort of budgets that we can find here. And so you just, nothing but admiration.
I think working with the cast that we're working with and the crew, just the people in general, it's sometimes you got to pinch yourself, because it's really freaking awesome. And everyone's lovely.
The cast that we have are spectacular, like the way they're just complementing each other, and everyone's kind of trying to match each other, so it's like
they've all stepped up.
Everyone's reaching.
So this is about spectacle. It's about spectacle and also about the humanity tied into it. And that's the most important part with this, is it's even though it is big, it is impressive, and it is immense, it's tied to a very grounded sense of humanity and heart.
Fun. I love genre. I love sci-fi. I love just free falling into fantasy. And I like the idea of Australia doing like more genre and doing more sci-fi. I like that idea. I hope we go in that direction.
Which is something we don't really do in Australia. It's an independent action sci-fi genre flick. So that in itself is quite appealing. And then when you come to work and you see the scale with which Luke imagines this film and in the way he's written it, you're intrigued, because you just want to see what it looks like. You want to see it on the screen.
You got to have a great imagination with this kind of thing.
Obviously, from the set design and effects, I mean the costumes, everything. It's just gone to whole new levels.
And we hope that people can see a blood, sweat and tears when they see the movie. They'll see how much hard work has gone into it.
Occupation Rainfall is about saving the planet.
The Earth is under attack from a bunch of aliens, we call them, but really it's just people who want to come and live here.
And it is about us shooting aliens in the face.
Not all aliens are bad, I want to say that, Not all aliens are evil.
There's action, adventure, there's chase sequences and major explosions and just dogfights.
I just think people were blown away once they see it on the big screen.
This thing is going to blow your mind, 100%.